Hello, everyone, and welcome to Voice Like a Lion podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Pemberton, and today we have our new Bling Bestie with us, author of 2 books, multiple courses, and founder of Crystal Glaze brand. I'll get that right eventually. Welcome to the show, Krystal Hughes.
Thank you so much, Stephen. I'm so glad to be here.
I am excited to talk to you. You seem like a bundle of joy when I was initially reaching out to you, and I was looking through your website and everything else. And even your background right now is attesting to that too. So tell us a little bit. Who is Krystal Hughes?
All the pink and bling in the background, huh? Well, I am Krystal Hughes, your bling bestie. I am a bling enthusiast, first a lover of Jesus Christ, and
Amen.
I absolutely get a joy every single day of using my business to be able to spread the love of Christ. It's truly unorthodox. It's scary for lots of entrepreneurs to take the path that I have taken. However, I am a believer that this journey that we're on in life is truly spiritual, and I would not be who I am today if it was not for His grace. So I block out the noise, and I've been my own boss for the past 8 years, and God has truly blown my mind to what my business has become, a form of business that I had as well, what it became. And so I'm grateful for the journey. I get to inspire many crafters, creatives, and bling artists all around the world every single day just by being me, just by blinking stuff out and talking about God.
Hey, we're going to get in trouble with this one because we're going to have a lot of fun because I didn't know that you were a follower of Jesus like myself. We about to have fun because
I already know
anytime I get
the
to,
profile, so I'm like, okay, this must be.
okay, let's go. I love this. We about to have a great time then because
Yeah.
the being able to walk with Christ on this journey,
Mhm.
I'm the thing about me is I want to talk to more people about him. I talk to people about him all the time because I have a hard time believing that business would be easier if I didn't have him.
Mhm.
Because I feel like that having Jesus, I don't know how you do this without him. It's like, how do you not believe
It's hard
in
enough.
God and do business? Because this thing is hard. Like nobody told me that business was going to be like this. That it would take longer than you expected, to be harder than you thought it would be. Now, was it more rewarding? Absolutely. But man, there's some days just like, never mind. I'm going back to a job. Like this is much
It's
easier if I
hard.
just go work a job.
I agree.
So
For sure.
tell me about your journey. Like, what did the Lord speak to you to get you into this business, or what has He spoken to you along the way?
You
I'm
know,
fascinated by this.
I have been saved since I was 14. I'm a past my grandfather was my pastor for my whole life. I've grown up in the church. It's all I've known is church. And I grew up around entrepreneurship. So my family is in the funeral home industry. So I was always watching them in business, learning how to communicate with customers, how to treat people. And so it was just kind of always there that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do, but I'm truly one of those people who from a very young age trying to sell things, at the funeral home with my mom was a secretary and a funeral director when I was growing up. So I spent all of my summers, after school, holiday breaks, I was at the funeral home around business. And I was so bored. So always tried to find something to occupy my time. I was like in the back room making paper fans, trying to sell them to the customers as they came in because we had an insurance agency as well. So they would come in to pay their insurance policies, and I would be 7, 8 years old trying to sell them paper fans for 10 cents. So I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know what that looked like. I went on to college. I have a major in Spanish and a minor in Hispanic ethnic backgrounds. And so I went on to be a Spanish teacher, high school Spanish teacher for 5 years. And then I thought that eventually I would open up my own translating service. That's not the path God has for me. Or not yet. Anyway, I don't think
Yeah,
I
yeah.
will do that, but I'm not gonna speak that if that's what He has for me. But I've always loved bling, sparkle, over the top, pink, shiny. I love it. So that's what kind of positioned me to be in this space. When I was in college, I wanted to bling out shoes and cell phone cases on the side just to make some extra money. And so I started that in college, but I was not very good at it. And I started trying to sell it on eBay. and that didn't go too well. I was not that skilled at the craft at that time, and so I kind of let it go for a little while, and then I revisited the idea of just blinging for fun after I had my first child. You have children as well, or a child as well, um, and for women, we want, especially for me, girls, we want them to be, cute and girly, over the top, the little walking
Yep.
shoes most babies wear. I wanted my babies to be a little stand outish. And I added some bling to hers, and that kind of put me back into a space where I'm like, okay, I remember liking to bling. I want to keep doing this. And so at that time, I just was blinging for fun, posting it on Instagram. I didn't have a huge following, just doing it for fun. And of course, people start asking me all the time where I got my rhinestones from. That, how do you do this? I'm interested. And so eventually, after so many people asking me where I got the rhinestones from, I'm a researcher, a visionary, I'm a go-getter. I'm like, okay, I can sell the rhinestones. So I went on a journey trying to find a supplier, testing rhinestones, and eventually found a supplier that I could in turn sell rhinestones to my customers who were interested. I did not think it was going to be a big deal. I just thought it was going to be something to the side, on the side for fun, because at that time I had transitioned from being a Spanish teacher to a stay-at-home mom after I had my baby. So I just wanted something on the side just to make some extra money. So the idea that this could be a totally big thing did not cross my mind. But years later, that business, Crowned Crystals, which I have now closed down, that revenued over $3 million. Like,
Well,
mind blowing that I was not even trying to do this, but God allowed it to be so. And then on that journey of me, doing the rhinestones, the next question became, well, how do you glue the rhinestones? What kind of glue do you use? Still not thinking that I would someday be a glue supplier. Like, how did that happen? But the glue happened because, the rhinestones were the vehicle, and it allowed me to sell the glue. The glue became the bestseller. I realized that every entrepreneur has a different journey, and what success looks like to me may not be the
mhm.
same thing to you. I didn't start this rhinestone company with the idea that I wanted to manage a warehouse. I wanted to have a big team. I wanted to constantly be stressed out. And so it was successful. However, it was a lot of stress for me. And so after the glue sales skyrocketed and that became my bestseller, I decided I no longer want to do the rhinestones. I just want to be a glue supplier. And so now I'm having a ball, just having fun, blinking for fun again, and promoting my glue. So that's where we are now. And I'm so excited about the journey so far.
That's amazing. Congratulations
Thank
on all that. And what's cool, what's thank you for taking me through that first and foremost. Secondly, is I know you probably just distilled down like 20 years into 5 minutes. So let's not miss that.
you.
That there's so many fun stories inside of that. Which it must be something about the stay-at-home mom life, because that's what happened to my wife. My wife was very similar. My wife is one of the hardest working. She honestly taught me what hard work actually looks like. She's one of the smartest people I know, and I remember years ago, I got this promotion and I was finally making enough money where she could be a stay at home mom. And that's what she really wanted to do. Our son was 4 at the time. So he was about to turn 5, about to go to school. We didn't want to send him to school. So she wanted to homeschool him. And the only way she could do that is if she didn't have a job. So it's like, okay. So she wanted to stay at home. She started staying at home. 6 months later, she hates it because she's just like, she told me this. She said, there's only so much cleaning. There's only so much Netflix I can watch. And she said, I'm good. And so she did like the cardinal sin though. She put it up on Facebook that she was unhappy with her life. And luckily my mom found her before anyone else and was just like, hey, I'm doing this Amazon thing. I would love for you to check it out. And so my mom has been a serial entrepreneur for my whole life. And by serial, I mean literally I feel like she's done every kind of business under the sun.
Okay.
And what was interesting was like then my mom talks to my wife. My wife's like, hey, what do you think? I said, absolutely not. There's no way. It's like we're finally making enough money for us to go on vacation, to hang out, to do all these things. You're a stay-at-home mom. It's like we have all the things, right?
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, but I think this is something I want to do. I'm like, nah. And so 2 days later, she had to give my mom an answer. She said, I'm gonna do it anyways. And it was crazy because I was working a job. I didn't know what business looked like. I was the model for an unsupportive husband for the first couple months. But what I watched her do, because at that time I was working 14 to 16 hours a day. And so I was putting in work. And then I came home. And of course, now that her focus was on the business, there was a lot of things with the house that were falling to the wayside. So I'm just upset. And then one day I come home after working a 16 hour, or it was 14-hour shift. She was up working. I go to bed. I wake up. She's already up and she's already
Mm.
working. And I went, okay, she's out working me. I said, the money might not have hit yet. It's like, but I can tell that she's out working me. And it was crazy to watch that business go from zero to over $1 million in the first year. So in less than 12 months, it went to over 1 million. And I went, okay, there's something here. Like the profit margins were terrible, but
Yeah.
I went, okay, I am a supply chain and logistics manager. I know a lot about the supply chain operations, cost of goods. I know how to hire teams. I know how to train them. And so I came in and was helping them restructure. Unfortunately, it was 2020. So it's like doing all
Yeah.
this work and then everything hit the fan. But what's beautiful is I was similar to you in a certain regard where grew up in church and I saw business from my mom. I always was the opposite in the fact that I was averse to it. I never wanted to be in business because I just felt like it pulled my mom away from us and it never actually helped as far as make money. It's like, eh. So I
Yeah.
never wanted to be in business, but it was fascinating this season in 2020 because I feel like this was the time because I was a Christian, but I wasn't actually following Christ,
Hmm.
and I knew of God, but I didn't know Him. So when I finally just started talking to Him the way I'm talking to you, it's like that's when I heard Him. I felt like the only time in my entire life actually speak to me audibly that I was
Mm.
supposed to quit my job. And so I'm sitting there in 2020. Everybody's looking for a job. I got a job. I'm up for $100,000 promotion, and I went, "Are you sure about this?"
Oh my God,
And
that's you.
it's like, are you sure? Are you sure? And that's
Yeah.
still one of the hardest things I've done to this day was quit that job and then went into the Amazon business. It shuts down. We're $100,000 in debt. And I'm like, oh, that was the devil. That wasn't God. And then 2 months later, we end up starting another business, another e-commerce business. And then that one goes to from zero to over 1 million in less than a year. And that was when I was like, oh, God is real. And it was like, oh, I didn't hear him wrong. But there's so many things. So just be able to hear your story, it speaks to me because I mean that's very similar to how my wife is. So I mean I
Yeah.
just want to congratulate you for that and everything that you've done.
Thank you, and congratulations to you as well. That's very scary.
Oh yes, and
Similar thing.
it's interesting. Even
Oh, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
When I did decide to do the rhinestones,
Yeah.
that was at the start of 2020.
Wow.
And so I just started, like, I've been in business since 2017, but the rhinestone aspect, I started feeling that like at the end of 2019. And I started doing my research and, coming up with suppliers, had my game plan, my business plan together, and then COVID hits. I was supposed to release the rhinestones in April of 2020. COVID hit around March, I believe. And
Yep.
I remember like, oh, asking my husband, "You think I should do this? I don't think I should do this. Like, people, we don't have money. Like, people are without jobs. Like, we
Yeah.
this is gonna work. Everybody's at home." But it became like mind blowing because so many women were at home bored and they wanted something to do. And when I tell you, they were buying rhinestones left and right. I made six figures from selling rhinestones alone in the first 6 months of me becoming a
Wow.
rhinestone supplier. So to me, that's nothing but God because I couldn't wrap my mind around that being the right time. And so that is a testament, you know, we cannot outgive God. We cannot question his authority, his leadership, his sovereignty, because we are truly vessels and we do not know what we are doing. And we truly have to be, submissive and in our word and prayer so that we can know the proper direction to take in life as well as business. So, yeah,
Amen.
I have a similar scary, like, take that leap and you're really scared. So I understand.
Yeah. Amen. So what do you feel like the Lord is talking to you about now, whether in life or in your business?
I know that I have a unique gift. I'm clear on my purpose right now. I'm in a position where I'm going back and forth on how I truly want or how I'm truly supposed to deliver the gifts that God has blessed me with to uplift his kingdom. I have a lot of talents, gifts, but I feel like this season that I'm in with my membership, my Bling Club. it is going to position me in a unique way to reach people in a unique way without it being Jesus, 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 God,
Yeah.
God, God, God. I'm not. I grew up around that. I'm grateful for my upbringing. However, the world needs to just know that God is real. They need to see the light, even if you don't have to say the name, even if you don't have to talk about God all day. They just need to know that they have a purpose and how, to be free from walking and living everyday life without knowing why we are here. Why are you here? Why were you created? What is your purpose? And so the membership that I've started, Shine Brighter Society, the rhinestones, the bling, the crafting, it's the vehicle in which I get to connect with these women. But then once they get here inside of our membership, and I'm upfront about that. People who follow me, all my bios, they know who I am and what I stand for. So that's never been a big deal. But once you get in here, okay, we're doing Monday motivation. We're talking about how we can better our gifts and our crafts by spending more time with God. So I know that I've been given that platform to help these women to just grow in life, spiritually, physically, emotionally, in business. And so I'm grateful for that opportunity. It has been a very rocky, probably end of 2024, because that's when I decided to stop selling the rhinestones. And that was extremely difficult for me because I'm like, but I am your bling bestie. Like, I am known for bling. Now I'm gonna be just a glue supplier. Like, how am I gonna make that work? But I'm grateful now because I don't have as much stress trying to run a rhinestone business. But I do feel like this now is about me uplifting the kingdom and helping people to recognize their purpose, helping them to think bigger and shine brighter in whatever it is that God has assigned them to do while they're here on earth.
I love that. That's beautiful. I think that this is why for me I don't call myself a Christian business owner. I think that
Mhm.
there's a lot of businesses where I'm John 3:16 consulting. It's like okay, but I mean we're called into like a business is a marketplace. Like the marketplace is also a ministry, and I think that you have to be the minister in the marketplace. And it's easier if you speak the language, right? If I
Mhm.
dropped you in China and you didn't know Chinese, like if I dropped you in Mexico, you'd be fine. But if I dropped
Yeah.
you in China, you don't know the language. Now all of a sudden you're trying to learn the language first. So once you understand the language of business and you're able to talk to other people, it gives you access. Like these are
Mhm.
people who, and the thing is, you don't have to be like, as you don't have to be as overt as we are here talking about God and Jesus and how He's impacted our lives to impact
Mhm.
somebody's life. And I think that for a long time I thought, oh man, I'm gonna have to be a pastor. It's like I got to
Oh,
go get on a platform to go impact people. It's like that's not true. You
no.
do not have to be a pastor, but you get to be a minister. I
Right.
mean, even a great example is like my business partner. He's not saved. He does not believe in God. And his mom is a devout Christian. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And I just remember we had a pretty big business deal fall through just a couple of weeks ago. And I remember we were on a call with the person that we were sitting at the negotiating table, and the guy was like, "Yeah, all I need is this. All I need is this one thing, and I'm good. We'll move forward." It's like this big deal. And we got off the call and I looked at my business partner. I said, I can't tell you what it is right now. It's like, I don't know for sure. It's like, but I'm telling you, we don't want to do this. And he
Mhm.
goes, this is a big deal. And I said, yeah, it's like, I'm telling you, even if he signs it, even if he moves forward, it's like, I'm telling you, long term, we shouldn't do this. It's like, there's something in my gut right now that's telling me we don't want to do this. And then sure enough, it was like this guy came back and all this stuff came out and the deal fell through, which sucked financially. But it was just like, wow, that's crazy. And so for him, he didn't believe in God. So he's like, what? How did you? He's just sitting there and now he has to ask questions. And
Mhm.
that's the one thing I love about what you're doing is like you just get people curious
Yeah.
because especially in this day and age, people want something real. They want
Mhm.
something to believe in. Like we are especially the newer generations, my generation and younger, is
Mhm.
this is some of the most hopeless I've seen people, even though we're the most connected we've ever been. So
Mhm.
being able to give them hope by just showing up and being their bling bestie, it doesn't matter if you're the rhinestone supplier
Mhm.
anymore. It just matters about how you show up. Like
Yeah.
your bling, your life gets to speak to them and gets to let them be their true authentic self, which then they can go out and reach the people that they're called to.
Yes. That's beautiful. Well explained too.
Hey, thank you.
Yes.
So how's that been with? Because I'll give you an example. It's like for us, we sunset. Sunset is a much. I like using the word sunset instead of close, but we sunset our storefront back in 2022. At the height of it, we were doing about $120,000 a month. And at that time, I remember we had all the things. We had this nice house outside of Nashville. We had short term rentals on the strip in downtown. We had all the stuff. And I remember my wife comes out. We had a home gym, and she's crying. I'm just like, oh no, something's happened. And I said, hey, it's like, what's going on? She said, hey, I feel like the Lord is telling us we need to shut the business down. I'll go, ooh. It's like, are you sure? It's like, this is our only stream of income. We have nothing else really. And she's like, yeah, I'm sure. And I said, okay. If you, and this is the one thing I've always, for anyone listening who has a spouse who is a believer, I've always, if I could have my wife here, I would have her chime in. I've always, if she believes, even if she just thinks it's God, I'm just like, let's do it,
Yes.
because that's the only way that you can grow in faith. Is maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, but wisdom is proven right by its results, right? So I said, hey, okay, if you believe that this is what he's saying, let's do it.
Yeah.
And for people listening, and you understand this probably better than most people, is that's not as easy as just like turning off a Shopify store. It's not that easy. You got employees, you got, like you said, warehouses, you got all these things. I mean, for us, we had 4 employees, so we took all of our savings and poured it into them. That way they could go find another job. Like that was they some of these people, they had their moms and dads living with them, and they had families with kids. It's like we were their only source of income. And so for us, instead of just closing the doors and saying, well, God told us to, it's no, how do we love people well, even to the very end? So we went from having all this stuff, all the things, to literally pouring all of our resources into our employees and having to move in with family in the matter of a few months. And it was just crazy to see the transition.
It is a crazy, scary, uneasy. What am I doing? Did I hear you right, God? This is
Yes.
a hard transition. It's not easy at all. I at the time when I first started feeling like, maybe, things just started getting kind of shaky, not as smooth as they once were. Even though the sales were still coming through, I did notice a shift in my customer base. At first, when I first started, I serviced a whole lot of B2B customers. We were doing wholesale rhinestones. We were helping people who had their own bling businesses. They were buying a lot of rhinestones from us and creating things to sell inside of their business. Well, with the shift in the economy, a lot of those customers who were once my customers, they were no longer shopping because they were closing their businesses down. But I still had the everyday crafter. I still had those people who were just loyal to the brand. Whatever I sold, whatever sale I ran, they were going to buy regardless. However, I started becoming overwhelmed at the warehouse because I never wanted to have a warehouse. I never wanted this big business. I enjoy working from home, which is what I do now. And it just became so overwhelming for me. So I started at one point having so many. I used to hire college students to give them an opportunity to be able to make money while they were in school. And so a lot of them were working for me. Well, this generation, they're not as driven, and a lot of them do not, take joy in showing up for work every single day. And so I started getting a lot of employees calling in for nothing. And so I will always have to put out the fire. Well, I have a meeting over here. I have a podcast. I have a training. I have something that I'm trying to do. So that became annoying for me. And so a lot of them, I only had, I think at the end when I first started considering closing down, I think I only had 4 employees at the time. Where a few of them quit. I had to fire one. And then the other one, the last one ended up being my brother-in-law, and so he kind of understood the direction we were taking, so it wasn't as difficult for me to let him go or tell him we were moving on. But everything just began to not work out anymore, even though I tried to try my best. Like, this can't be, like, this is
Yeah.
working. I'm gonna try anyway. I'm gonna okay, let's invest this, let's try these, let's see if this is gonna work. Nothing was working. So in my disobedience of like, no, it has to work. The people are still buying. Like, I'm gonna invest some more. I'm just messing up the cash flow every month, trying to make some money. And so after a while, my husband's like, do you think we still need to do that? I'm like, yes, they're still buying. It's still coming through. It's not what it was, but we're still making 5 figures consistently every single month. And it just took for everything to just not work. And I finally was like, okay, I hear you. God, I'm gonna let this go. So it started with me just letting go of the warehouse, and I was introduced to the 3PL life. So I ended
Yeah.
up hiring a third party logistics company to ship my orders for me. The first company that I had, we didn't do well because I sold rhinestones in small packs, different sizes. We had maybe 200 SKUs. It's an extremely difficult business if you do not truly know what all these rhinestone sizes means. So it was difficult for them to grasp the concept. So I even changed my business formula so that the 3PL could understand how to pack my orders. That didn't work. And so eventually I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to be selling rhinestones anymore. And once I did that, I had the freedom that I really can't even explain the peace. Like it was extremely scary, but the sales never stopped with the glue. God still provided, and here we are today. And I'm glad I let the rhinestones go. Now I have people
Amen.
messaging all the time. I thought you sold rhinestones. Where are your rhinestones? I can't find them. So I told my husband the other day, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe is this a season? Am I eventually supposed to sell rhinestones again? I don't know, but I know right now I'm not supposed to, and I'm glad.
Yeah, I understand. That's one of the concepts that my wife is walking me through and trying to get a better understanding on is even with the deal that I talked about a couple minutes ago is a lot of times we don't understand it in the moment, but down
Mhm.
the road we look back and go, oh, that was protection
Yep.
for whatever reason. And I'm bullheaded, so it's like, okay, I know that's probably a no, but I'm just going to go full steam ahead. And then I feel like the naughty child where it's
Yep.
like, you told me not to go through that door, but I'm gonna try it anyways. And you just
Yep.
got to slam the door in my face. But
Mhm.
honestly, I've just been blessed that he will do that. He has done that time and time again, where it's like, Steven, you know that you're not supposed to go in there. And then it's like, yeah, no, but let me try anyways. And they'll slam the door in my face. And then I look back and go, oh, okay, that's why. Yeah, that makes sense. So, I mean, I think, and it's interesting if he does ever call you back to it, it doesn't always mean that you have to be the one who's the supplier and having to find it, having the
Mhm.
warehouse or a 3PL. You could always just affiliate it, find someone else who's doing it. Like
Yep.
it could be a lot of different things. It could look different, but for everyone who is listening who wants to join you and being able to bling out. So, like for us, I wish I would have found you last year because we had this really cool Valentine's thing that we did where we ended up basically painting shoes and blinging out some shoes, and we did that horribly, but it was a lot of fun. So, I wish I would have found you then.
That's
But for people like us who are wanting to bling out, maybe do it ourselves or to learn how to do it, where do we go? How do we get there?
Yes. So my website is yourblingbestie.com. And there's also a link on my website that leads you to my glue brand, which is Krystal Glaze. And I'm always blinging and showing. You can also join the Shine Brighter Society, which is my bling club. It's currently an $11.99 per month membership, very low ticket, lots of fun. We're just blinging, showing you how to think outside the box with your craft and add some bling to it. It elevates the look of most craft projects. So we're having a lot of fun inside of there. And all of that can be found on yourblingbestie.com.
Love that. And we will make sure that all of that is in the show notes. Krystal, thank you again for being a part of the show. I usually don't do this, but what is one word of wisdom that you would want to leave someone who is maybe either in a past season that you've been in? It's like if you could speak to yourself, or someone who's walking through a really difficult time. They're holding on to what they felt like was a promise from God in the past, and now He's asking them to give it back, kind of like Abraham and Isaac. I
Uh-huh.
understand that really well. What would you say to someone in that kind of season?
I would say I have one word. I'm going to expound on it, but I have one word: execute. Lots
Mm,
of times we are not thriving because we're choosing not to execute. We have all these ideas, we have the game plan, we know we can do it, we see other people, but we let so many things get in the way. And so right now, I am on a journey to truly execute all those gifts and ideas that I've been given. I'm no longer putting them to the side. If God gives me the vision and I can do it today, I'm going to do it today. If I can see it working in 6 weeks, okay, we're going to write down a 6 week plan and we're going to get it done. Even if you pick two or three things within the next 8 to 12 weeks, it can be done. Stop putting it to the side because ultimately, your your journey, this life lies in God's plan for where he wants you to be, but you also have a part to do too. He's given you the desire for a reason. He's giving you the resources for a reason. You have the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding for a reason. So lots of times he's waiting on us to just execute. So get out there and get it done. Stop making excuses. You're no different than the next billionaire. You just sometimes are not executing well.
That's
So
great. We out on that one. Krystal, thank you for being here.
Thank you
Peace.
so much. Nice speaking to you.